us on any sort of question out here. Between the two of us, I think we have about 15 years time on the island out here now. So that's longer than most inmates ever did time out here. Take a look at the little floor over there. Go ahead. Pot-bellied stove, you know, they can boil their coffee and cook their food here. A little tiny cot in the corner to sleep. If anybody was attacking through here, soldiers would have been firing a long rifle outside of this window here. The reason why the window is tall is not so you can shoot up and down, but it's to vent the hot air and the smoke from the cannons and the black powder rifles in here.
Interesting.
The work was done by the lighthouse. The work was no,
What are going to be doing out here except for hard time? They broke a rule, they disagreed with the government. This is what you get as your consequence. So inmates who were put to work out here, picks and shovels, they chiseled away at all these cliffs over here. All of this was hand carved by prison labor to build the roads, to mix the concrete for the buildings, essentially all the labor. However, the first laborers on the island, before the prisoners were brought out here, were skilled craftsmen. So if you look back down at that building that we were just in down there, you notice the brickwork in there. It was pretty nice, right? Very well done, precision, everything. You can imagine if the Civil War is going on 3,000 miles away, that this military force... Unusual place to be. Now, as the prison grew, and you had 800 inmates out here, you needed to have more soldiers to watch over the inmates. So the population of the U.S. Army grew on this base as well. And just like any military base or prison, if you're an Army soldier, assigned to District 63 by the federal officers. In each of these apartments, there were about 3 bedrooms in size, all furnishings provided. You didn't have to bring anything except for your family, your children, and the clothing on their back. So all the kitchen appliances and utensils, the furniture, everything in here. Beautiful views, unlimited fishing, not too bad. Kids in the early years would go to school in that little red roof schoolhouse there. The building down on the bottom that doesn't have a roof, that was the officers' club. It was like a post-exchange. Upstairs it had a dance hall, a community center. Downstairs it had a 2-lane bowling alley, ice cream soda fountain, if you know what that is, grocery store, movie theater, it had everything. How much would you expect to pay to live in a place like this? Well, if you're a military soldier, it's free because it's part of your assignment. But if you're a federal officer, you did have to pay a small amount of rent every month. Now, in 1963, when federal officers were here, the average rent for a 3-bedroom apartment in San Francisco was $268 a month. The average rent in Alcatraz, $12 a month. Pretty good deal, right? If I haven't convinced you that this is a good place enough yet to live, the best part about it, I think, was that if you didn't like to do laundry, you could send your family's laundry down to the factory at the north end of the island. Somebody like Al Capone could have washed, folded, starched, pleated, and put all your laundry back together in a little paper wrapper, sent it back to you at the end of the day, no charge. I'd move out here just for that.
Where do you sign up at?
Yeah, I know. It's not bad. And they were sent back to the prisons they came from. A correctional officer's day or his career might have been less than a week. And quite often, the buildings that were built out here don't last long either. For a good reason. You're in a maritime ocean environment. You have salty, wet air. You have heat. You have cold. You have birds pooping all over everything. And all that causes degradation of everything. So a lot of buildings existed on Alcatraz that you don't see. They're long gone. This one here is probably one of the older ones that we still have left. It's the cell house. We're going to go in there shortly. Now what you're noticing up there, I know what this gentleman did here notice already, was that you see a dark and a light side to the exterior of this building. You see the right side there is freshly painted and restored. We started that a couple of years ago, and we're working our way around the other side. We're going to do this winter. However, this side here, kind of creepy and dark. Ooh, you almost got nailed.
I know.
Yeah. That was a good one. Ooh, thank your lucky stars.
That wouldn't be the first
building
time.
over here hasn't been restored in about 60 years. Coats of stucco, plaster, cement, and paint on the top, putting all new glazing and mullions in the windows there. How much do you think it would cost to redo just the exterior of this building?
Millions, yeah.
$263 million. That was about 4 years ago when we started. However, we had a slight government shutdown. That shutdown added to our cost because we had...
So close.
Alright, so from this point we're going to be venturing down some steps. You can see more of the brickwork over here. This is the brick and the bricks.
Yep.
This one like this right here. You see instead of flowers.
Oh, the animal?
Yeah, this wasn't necessarily meant to be.
And there's, you know, quite a few beautiful flowers down here as well. Now the question I have for you, how do you grow a garden on an island made out of rock? And why would you do it?
You know, a lot of dirt.
Where do you get dirt from? That's the problem. So the soldiers thought they were thinking, bringing dirt out here. However, they were angry, making the women redo their laundry all the time. The women were getting angry at the soldiers because their laundry was dirty. More dirt blowing in the air. So it was the solution of the women to fix the problem. Remember, all the women who lived here were married to the soldiers. They knew it. Perfect. All right, right this way. Plenty of room on this side too if you want to scoot in a little bit. Perfect. We're all going to focus on this last case right here though. Salt box structure, a cupola on top with a Fresnel glass lens. The only other lighthouse that looks like this in the world now is in Point Loma, San Diego. That's the sister to this lighthouse here. Now, between the lighthouse and this building here, there's a big open space. That's about where we were just standing inside the front of the building. This is the ammunition dump. There was cannon barrels and cannonballs, black powder, things stacked up here. There was a small garden, and then there was this building here, the Citadel. Citadel is essentially a French architecture word that means fortress or castle. So at the top of this island, the Citadel existed, and it was just like the building we were first in down below at the bottom that had the original dungeon. So what do you notice about this Citadel building that we've already seen today? Look at the windows. Gun-slit windows, right? Do you notice anything else around the outside of the building?
Looks like a moat.
There's a moat and drawbridges on both ends.
You still see that stuff right away. These are all little tablets. Okay, so this is where you guys can start stepping in if you want to get a closer look. Then we have pencil marks as well. Our understanding is that this is from a correctional officer in 1959, not 1859. But all those 5-digit numbers you guys are seeing, those are scratched in from the First World War.
Down here?
These are all legacies of somebody who spent time there. All right, what's the oldest that you've seen so far? 1889 is probably some of the oldest. So there's a whole bunch of different, if you were here during the time of the Civil War, this rooftop above us, the floor of the cell house, that did not exist. You would have seen blue sky, birds flying over, and you would have seen the Citadel building going up another 30 feet, 2 stories above us. The drawbridge was right over us right here.
Yes, with a brighter light.
Now some things have changed, because remember, prisoners knocked down the fortress building to put the prison up there. Anything you see that's made out of the concrete that's formed by old wooden boards, that's 1911 concrete up there. However, you'll see this gray concrete. This is 2013 concrete here. The whole building was sinking into the hole like a collapsed cake in the oven. So we had to bring out timbers and jacks, jack up the whole building, put new concrete in. So this is new. That's the prisoners. Look how terrible it is. That was all made from the rubble of the building on top that was torn down, holding up parts of the cell house, taking care of the soldiers here. However, these spaces here were outside, and you would store things in these locked-in spaces, like a tool shed in your yard. What do you suppose you would store in these chambers when this was a fortress? Possibly food, dry provisions, potatoes, wheat, maybe firewood, maybe coal, dirty laundry, maybe your little kids. Yeah? All locked securely away. Now, when the prison was built on the top, they were used for storage as well. As a military prison, military prisoners were put down here for simply doing something like refusing to work. So imagine, you're outside, picking away on the rock.
So he's going to turn the lights off in here
and make sure you stand
so we can
away
see
from
what
the
it
walls in the
would be
center.
like to be a prisoner down here in the dark.
Folks like to do it too? All right, hop in there.
Can't touch the walls.
All right, so make sure you stand inside the center.
You guys trust us on this?
Make sure you have all your cameras and your cell phones turned away or in your pocket, because you're not going to get a photo of anything except for dark. And then, if you have your cell phone on, it's going to ruin the experience for somebody else.
It's gotta get dark. Wow, we got rid of
Alcatraz was essentially a place to put people and
people on the audio, not to be mean, but because they're already off course. So if you guys are doing the audio and you're on Broadway, make a left towards the recreation yard door. This is your final stop. So don't get off track like those guys. All right, so as Steve already mentioned, we're going to be going upstairs. More black and red tiles to worry about. Cells 1 and cells 5 will be open too to have a better understanding of how big they were. Why were they that size, right? So it might look like a privilege, but there's a little more to it than that.
So we're going to the hospital now, inside Alcatraz. It's supposed to be haunted. We'll see, I'll let you guys know.
The first part of this hallway is long and centralized because if ever anything were to go wrong, it's like a shotgun alley right here. But again, we're going to start making our way down because I can see that we're all gathered. Again, we're going to stay on that carpet, guys. But this door right in front here was a dentist's office. All the usual stuff you'd expect would happen, but one unusual thing we noticed in the 50s, a lot of rewiring of jaws. Not just extractions, not just cavities, right? But with that, let's continue down. The elevator, by the way, is circa 2006. But as we slowly make our way down, again, this is the surgical room. And we're going to double back out this way. So if you're thinking, I only got a few seconds to look, I promise on the way out, we'll see the same things.
The rewiring of jaws is because of the fights, or?
Yes. It's a very tough place to be, especially when you're learning comic code here. This is the pharmacy over here. All the different medications needed will be provided to you there, but keep in mind there's definitely, again, a spike in the 50s until the prison closed. A lot of benzos, a lot of downers being prescribed because whatever side of the debate you're on, a lot of the medical staff said this was the easiest way we could manage our inmates. Hydrotherapy and x-ray are going to be on your right-hand side. As we continue to, you're going to see a barred gate here. This was once Robert Stroud's cell. That was not the original purpose of the room. Just do me a favor, guys. Don't worry about reading the sign in there. Just look at how big that cell is. I'm going to talk about him once we get into the main ward. So come on in. We've reached the finish line. Just before you make your way into the main ward, this area on your right would have been doctor's offices. The room over to the left there with the pink tile, that would have been the psychiatric unit. That's where people make money off of selling sweaters and say psycho ward. It's not exactly what it was. The nickname for it was actually the bug cells. Come on, you guys. And again, as you see Robert Stroud's cell, most people look at it as a gigantic cell. It's a privilege right there. That's a luxury. It's an in-house. That was not meant to be that. You have to understand him if he really was. If anybody knows anything about Robert Stroud, they know that his nickname was the Birdman of Alcatraz. That's what sold books. That's what sold movies. He was actually giving that money. He was maybe doing pretty well back then. Stroud said, "You pay your rent, you don't need anything else." So after a few days, that same bartender went out to Stroud. He said, "Well, that was good. I just want to get that moving." He was a very controversial inmate. Even officers that had to take him out when Stroud was big. And so he would lower himself down in with the handcuffs on. He would be given a safe freeze on the edge of the tub, and they say you only get a few minutes to shave. But he would try his best to shave not just his facial hair, but his eyebrows, his head, his body.
Is there anything that successfully escaped from here, or like, or part of
It depends on what you quantify as successful.
Yeah.